Uningo don tana no nom yamanim. Odo nu dom nuktim odo nu budi. Hesati dom uningo dom mo kuti makadesi. Don't take mercy. Yo in na ping ko yom yang tu dom heaven di ni ju asu dom.
Welcome to Lesson 20 of the Mountain Maidu language class. In this lesson, we're going to review some of what we learned last time, invent some new words, and then listen to another recording from Maym Gallagher. Last time we learned how to say can do something. Do you remember? Let's review. How would you say, I can meet you at the restaurant? Kasmin pekum uyidi odato mapem. Of course, you could have put those words in a different order. That's okay. Remember, we use a helping verb like kan, kas, kakan, kaankano, etc. with the mapem ending on the verb partner to mean can do. How about, you can buy that on Amazon? Kaankano mu meto mapem Amazon di. He can pay me later. Kan nik pakal mapem chaimen. Now, for the modern Maidu part of our class, we're going to invent some new words. Today, we're going to start inventing words using genuine Maidu parts. You already know about word roots, infixes, and endings, but let's review. Maidu words are like puzzles made up of three kinds of puzzle pieces. There's the root of the word like che, see, look, crawl or climb, and tui, sleep. You only need one of these for a word. Then there are the infixes, which we've learned about, like koi, ti, doi, and men. A word can have no infixes at all, or just one, or a bunch of them strung together. Finally, most words have an ending, also called a suffix. These are grammatical endings which show whether a word is a verb or a noun, and if it's a verb, who is doing the action. These verb endings are the ones like ankano, kas, kan, kare, and so on. And if a word is a noun, adjective, or verb partner, the endings include dom, pem, or m, or e, like the e on the end of hini, showing it's a noun. Of course, noun objects don't have to have any ending. You've seen Q instead of QE and Yaman instead of Yamani. And likewise, verbs that are commands may not have any endings. Chayakoi, go away. A koi has no suffix or ending. But these are the exceptions. These genuine Maidu parts, roots, infixes, and endings are technically called morphemes. If you read Shipley's grammar book, he's always talking about morphemes. These are the genuine Maidu parts. Here's an example using puzzle pieces showing how the genuine Maidu parts fit together to make words. Look sip bos ti men kan. He did not let it crawl all the way out. The word root is look, crawl or climb. First infix sip, out of. Infix bos, all the way. Infix T, make or let someone do. Infix men, not. Then there's the endings, kan. He, she, or it did. Look sip bos ti men kan. He did not let it crawl all the way out. In the next 3 lessons or so, we're going to focus on inventing new verbs, but you can easily make these into nouns or adjectives. If you're trying to make up a new noun or adjective, you could skip ahead to lesson 6 on page 79 in the Modern Maidu workbook to learn how to do this. We will get there eventually. When we talk about each infix, I'm going to give examples of words we already have in Maidu with this infix, so you could see how these words were already created by Maidu speakers a long time ago. Today, we're going to invent some words using 3 infixes you already know: T, men, and bos. Let's start with the most popular infix, T. This means cause to do. Here are some examples from the Maidu dictionary. Akoi means go or leave, but akoi T means send or make someone go. Uno means go down in. Uno T means swallow, cause to go down in. Heyukit means fall down. Heyukiti means drop, make something fall. Kap means be cooked, be done. Kapti means to cook, to roast. You're causing it to be cooked. In the Modern Maidu workbook, turn to page 35. Let's invent some new words using the T infix. The first one is done for you. Say we want a word for admit, let someone in. We don't have that word from any of our recordings or stories, even though it probably already existed. It got lost. So since it got lost, we have to reconstruct it. We do have a word for come in or enter, yunpin. If we add the T infix, meaning make somebody do or let somebody do, what word did we invent for let somebody come in? Yunpin-ti, admit someone, let them come in or join. Now we're going to do the same thing with a few more. Let's go a couple of rows down to the word be interesting. We don't have a way to say something or someone is interesting based on words from recordings and stories. But we do have a word, pay attention, chenukoi. How can we make a new word out of this by adding T? Chenukoi T, cause somebody to pay attention. If a book or movie is interesting, it makes you pay attention. So you're going to write the new word, chenukoi T, in the new Maidu word column. What if we want to say be late or overdue? We don't have that word, but we do have the word wait for. It can either be bocheye, which we already learned, or cheboye. Both of these are found in the old Tom Young stories, meaning wait for. And we have heard Maym Gallagher say bocheye. Whichever one you use, add T to it and you get the word make somebody wait. Bocheye T or cheboye T, be late, make someone wait. Now let's go down a couple more rows. What if you wanted to say you are changing or modifying something? We have a word chai, be different. What if you add the T infix to the end of this word? What happens? Chai T, make something different. That means change it. So you will write chai T in the new Maidu word column. Go through this table and do as many of these as you can. As you invent new words, try out the short dialogues in each section of the workbook. These will get you to use some of these new words. I'll let you go through the dialogues on your own. Another popular infix for creating new words is man, not. By using man, you can invent words which mean the opposite of the original word. Here are some from the regular Maidu dictionary that are already in the language. Cheti means show. Cheti men means hide, not show. Cheti men. Etos means be physically strong. Etos men means be weak. Hukes means be smart or wise. Hukes men means be foolish or stupid. Kuidak means to like someone. Kuidak men means not like, dislike someone. So let's invent some new words by adding men, not, to a verb which is already in the dictionary. The first one's done for you. Say you want to say something is clean. We don't have a word meaning be clean, but we do have a word that means be dirty, oiche. If we add men on the end of oiche, it means not be dirty or be clean, oiche men. Okay, let's try another one, 3 rows down from that one. Say we want a way to say disapprove of, like my parents disapprove of him. We don't have this word, but we do have a word meaning admire, akauche. If you add the infix men onto that, you get akauche men, not admire. My parents don't admire him, pretty close to the same thing. So you'll write akauche men in the new Maidu word column. Let's try one more, doubt, the 4th one from the bottom. We don't have a word for doubt, but we do have a word for believe, tikche. If we add men on the end, tikche men, that means not believe or doubt. We've invented another word. Go through the rest of these and invent some more words using the men infix. The infix boss adds the meaning completely, all the way, or finish doing to your verb. Here are some examples from the Maidu dictionary, words we already have in the language. Banchonoi, wrap something up, but banchonoi bos is completely wrap up. Bukui means go out like a fire. Bukui bos means go all the way out. Chi, get dressed. Chi bos means get all dressed, be all dressed. Di means grow. Di bos means be full grown. Tawal means work. Tawal bos means finish work. Let's invent new words by adding bos completely to a verb which is already in the dictionary. The first one's done for you. You want a word for scrutinize or analyze. We do have a word for examine, chebuk. If you completely examine something, you're scrutinizing it or analyzing it. So add bos to chebuk and it gives you chebuk bos, scrutinize, chebuk bos. Now, let's skip down a few to decide on. Say you're deciding on which car to buy. We don't have a word for decide on, but we do have a word for think about, huheye. Add bos to huheye, and you get huheye bos. Think about it all the way, which could be used for the word decide on. So, you will write that in the new Maidu word column. We don't have a word for expire, like my license expired. But we do have a word for time going by, wo sip. Add bos to create the word expire, wo sip bos, time all passed by on it. What if you want a word for finish school or graduate? We don't have a word for this, but we do have a word for go to school, sukul. Add bos to sukul, sukul bos, finish school, graduate, sukul bos. Now let's switch gears to today's recording. Today's recording is from Maym Gallagher telling about an incident in her life that first showed her that her father spoke English and her mother spoke Maidu. She hadn't really realized this until now. I'll play the recording first with a pause after each sentence so you can absorb it. See if you can understand what she says.
Tibim Pekkapem kekas Maidu ni wonom nikne di kapaitudo. Rom nikne kekas wollen ni way wonom. Niki Nik Pekkapem Maternum Tekan baby inyana way wonom. Wolani baby. With Niki Pekkapem returning mom Niki etim mom Kan wole dik way wole dik way kan hoyam tibim temmas no ook flater kun wole ki corona koikum mais mam se pom Klumani bij Uyuk is came body. Mom Pekkapem di 2 years. Nik begum kill 2 kemas. Mam Kaya masasam bukubos mani bij Maym omsapam wasasam bij luks door de body eskojo ekoidam isiwet eskojo dam koko wasasam klino itidam amani nik beke yaikum.
Oh, if you want some aspirated stuff.
Pinken op mum omsapam hesipe weko kan dom nik be kum tuidum pinmen when be kiwi ayora tokumas dom wimiktias dom pinken op omsapam amani be omsapam kan would rather come mum. Mijn nickname is omsapa where. I mean, this is Sarum se omsapa men where me meet. Akumas. Akuman dikas mam tibi makit wonom nickname kakikanum inyanam amani nikbeke mun wole adom nik be pikum mas nikbeke be nik aikum achokum we uninan makit man kano Ronkas moment ik makit wonom sitti inyanam sitti wolen kakikanam.
Now I'm going to go line by line and translate it and explain the grammar. There is some new grammar to learn.
Tibim Pekkapem kekas Maydini way wonom niknedi kapaitudo.
By now, you have maybe picked up that when you have a subject like I, and also a noun subject like tibim Pekkapem, these are one and the same. You can translate it as I when I was a little girl, or I as a little girl. Maydini, with Maidu. We've learned that when we say we're using a language to speak, like using a tool, we can say ni at the end of the language, with. So, wolani, with English or using English. Inyanani, using Indian. Usually, Maym Gallagher refers to the Maidu language as Inyana but here she calls it Maidu. Wonom. Remember the wonom ending on a dependent clause, meaning the action was already completed? Now we're going to learn more about wono and wonom verb endings in this lesson. You might remember I mentioned that wono, which means die, really shows completion. The action is finished without any helping verb. The wonom ending is usually a dependent clause like we learned, having done. But when you add a helping verb like kakan or kan, wonom becomes a verb partner to that helping verb, and the translation is more like had done. Really similar. In this sentence, we find kakas wonom, I had spoken. The wonom verb partner means this was completed already, like in English when we say we had done something before doing something else. That's also in the past. When I had taken out the garbage, I cleaned the garage. You can see which one got done first. Maym Gallagher says, kakas maidini wonom, I had spoken using maidu. Yapaito means converse or chat. Niknidi yapaitodom. What do you think that means? When conversing with my mother, niknedi. Notice that D on the end of my mother? We're used to D meaning on or at, but idi actually means do with someone. Bisidi means live with someone. Nikne bisidi kas means I live with my mother. Repeat, nikne bisidi kas. Niknedi yapaitodom, when conversing with my mother. Let's repeat the sentence. I had spoken in Maidu when conversing with my mother. Kakas maiduni wonom, niknedi yapaitodom.
Adam niklegikas woleni wonom.
And my father, I eventually spoke to in English. Now I have some more grammar for you involving wono, still showing completion. The wono verb ending is also a verb partner to a helping verb like kas, with a slightly different meaning from the wonom verb partner. Kas wono means I ended up doing, or I eventually did. This verb tense is mentioned in the Mountain Maidu grammar book in lesson 9. You can translate it as I eventually did, or I ended up doing. Here, Maym Gallagher says, Nik beka kas wolini wono. What do you think that means? I eventually spoke English to my father. So taking these first two sentences together, what subtle information do we get? Her first language was Maidu, which she used to speak with her mother. Then eventually she learned English and spoke that with her father. Shipley's translation was, as a little girl, I spoke Indian when talking to my mother, but I spoke to my father in white, that is, English. Now, that's correct, but there's a little more meaning to it that you can pick up if you know how to translate wonom and wono with a helping verb like kas. There was an order to it. First she spoke Maidu, had spoken, then English. She eventually used English. Makika he-e.
Pekkapem mutunim tekan baby inana wonom woleni baby.
Nik hoipayim matunim. Hoipai means follow, and matunim means younger brother. So, what does Pekkapem mean? My next younger brother, the one who follows me in age. Again, we have wonom, that verb partnership. Do you remember how to translate it? He had spoken. Pekkapem beba inyana wonom, wolani beba. My next younger brother had also, beba, spoken Inyana, Indian, Maidu, wolani beba, using English too.
With Nikki Pekkapem returning wonom, negating wonom, become a way at them.
Although my next younger brothers and sisters only speak English, awet, this means although or but, awet. Niki hoipayam matunam bomom niketim bomom. What does that mean? My following younger brothers and younger sisters. Notice she uses bomom to show you it's more than one of each. The M on the two bomoms means these are both subjects. In English, we would put an and in between, but not in Maidu. My younger brothers and younger sisters. Kakan wola de Pekkapem, she corrects herself. Since she's thinking while she's talking, sometimes she corrects herself. Wola de means only English. Kakan wola de Pekkapem means they only speak English. Do you remember when you use wea to talk about speaking a language, you use kakan Pekkapem instead of kakan dom? Do you remember that? There's a few verbs like that. So repeat, they only speak English. Maisen kakan wola de Pekkapem.
Hoy tibim temmas opflaatakum oleki korona koikumais.
Tibim tem asmani. What does that mean? What is that S doing there right before the mani? That is the subject of that dependent clause, I. Asmani means when I was. The mani shows you that this part of the sentence has a different subject from the main part of the sentence. Tibim tem asmani, when I was a little child. The main sentence is akoi kumayas. We all had gone. See, we all is a different subject from I. When I was a little child, we all had gone. So you have to show the subject is different. Where did they all go? Oak Flat Country. Oak Flat Koroina. That na means two. Maym Gallagher adds in that Oak Flat was what the whites called it. Akum Wolaki, called by whites. Repeat, Akum Wolaki. The key on the end of wola means by whites.
Mam say pom klumani bei Uyuk is came body.
Paul is night. Pom is the subject, night, of the dependent clause. Kulumani, when night got dark. Uyuk is camp or spend the night away from home. What does Uyuk mean? We all spent the night. Amam nise pom kolumini be Uyuk. When night got dark on us, then we stayed overnight. Where? Mum Kaim Habodi. Kaim Habo, old house, sort of a rickety house or cabin. K implies full of holes. Shipley translates it as an old, abandoned, ramshackle cabin. Uyuk mum Kaim Habodi. We all were spending the night in the rickety cabin.
Amamum Pekkapem di 2 years.
A Pekkapem and a Pekkapem can both mean all. Amambomom a Pekkapem, all of that group. Madi is another word for there. Madi. Madi 2 We all were sleeping there. That whole bunch of us were all sleeping there.
Nick Begum Q Tweakamas.
I slept behind my father. We learned Habom Kiwi, behind the house. Now we learn Nick Bacon Q, behind my father. Nick Bacon Q Tweakamas.
Mom. Kaya masasam bukubos mani bay Maym omsapam wasasam bay looks to the body escojo ecoidum see it escochodum koko wasasam klino itidon.
You could tell that Shipley cut something out of this recording right before this because Maym Gallagher refers to the light, toyam, as amam toyam, that previously mentioned light, and woodrat om sapam as muim om sapam. In our story here, this is the first mention of these. Toyam can be a lantern or a candle. We usually say toyaku for a modern lamp or light. Toyaku. We already know the word bukuiti, close or turn off. For a light, it means cause it to go out. But without the T infix, it just means go out by itself. So the candle went out, we would say in English. Bukuibos, go completely out. Amam toyam wasasam. Bukuibos manibe, when that candle went all the way out. Now we know because of the muni ending that that dependent clause has a different subject from the main clause, the mama bear. The subject is now going to be the wood rat, om sapam. Muim om sapam wasasam. E luxi toyedom, habodi escochoe koidom, hesiwet escochoyedom. Koko wasasamaat, kulunoyetidom. Notice that she uses wasasam, stuff or thing, to show something like or some kind of. Om sapam wasasam, something like a wood rat. She's not sure because it's dark. Toyam wasasam, that light thing, whatever kind of light it was, since she was a little kid, she might not have known or maybe doesn't remember what kind of light it was exactly. Was it a candle? Was it a lantern? Toyam wasasam. Now let's look at the 4 beautiful dome words that have so many infixes. Luxito yedom. The root is look, crawl. Infixes sito, across, and ye, towards. Crawl across towards something. Escocho koidom. The root is s, do something in the middle. Infixes ko, go off, cho, around, and wekoi, go winding or wandering. So go wandering out and around in the middle. Escochoyedom. The root is s, do something in the middle. Infixes, koi, go off, and cho, around, and yeah, towards. So, go off around the middle towards something. Kulu no yetidom. The root is kulu, roll. Infixes, no ye, around, and t, cause. So, make something roll around. Cocoa is a nut. Cocoa asasa, some kind of nut or something. Then, as soon as that light thing had gone out, that wood rat type thing, crawling across, wandering over the middle of the house, going after something in the middle, rolling some kind of nut around.
Amani Nick Baker Yaikumas.
Oh, if you want some aspirated stuff.
Pinken up sapam hesipe can.
Nick Baker Yaikumas. Who is doing the action? I am. Yaikumas. I said something like. Yai. Say something like. How do we know Nick Baker isn't the subject? 1, it doesn't end in M, and 2, the verb ending kumas is the I ending. If he was the subject, it would be kumam. Amuni means the subject's going to change from the wood rat in the previous sentence to I. Amuni Nick Baker, ayaykumas. Pinkanut mum om sapam hesi pewekoikan. Listen, that wood rat is wandering around eating something. Hesi pewekoikan.
Nick Baker tweedum pinmen when he be kiwi iota tokumas. I don't miktias.
The rain and the rain.
I don't pinken sapa.
And when my father didn't hear because he was sleeping, I slid up close to his back. Getting close to him, I said, listen to the Om Sapa.
Amani be sapam can wood rat a kumam.
Then Om Sapam is wood rat, he said. The subject changes from Maym Gallagher to her father. So she says Amuni.
Nickname is Sapa where.
Amuni means now the subject changes back to Maym Gallagher talking. Mum nickname us. What does that mean? That mother of mine. Om Sapa Awea. She says Om Sapa. Say, Wea or Weam means she always does or always did that. We, infix, with this verb tense means always. Then that mother of mine always says Om Sapa.
Directly into the microphone.
I mean, this is Sarum say Sapa, I mean, where me meet. I couldn't.
This line's hard to understand, and I'm not totally sure I got the translation right. She continues talking to her father and says, Amuni, to switch subjects from her mother to the subject it. Hesado means why, and sui means the question is in the past tense. When a question's in the past tense, it doesn't have to have a question ending like ka and kade. Hasadam sui om sapa amen weam mimik. Why wasn't it called? The short verb which means do or say, can also mean be called. Mimik, by you. That K on the end is by. By you, mimik. Now, it does sound like she's saying mimiet, instead of mimiek. But this is the only way I can think of to interpret it that makes sense. Why wasn't it called Om Sapa by you? Shipley translates it, why didn't you yourself say Om Sapam? But the problem with this translation is that there's no you ending, ka or kaankano, or even ano, which we would expect for a question to you. If Shipley's translation was correct, there would have to be a verb ending in ka, ano, or ankano, and there isn't one. The verb ending wea or weam is third person. It can only be third person. So I'm interpreting it, why wasn't it called Om Sapa by you? Mimi is you. Mimiek is by you. Maybe some of you will hear it better and figure out a better translation one of these days. But you can see that both Shipley's and my translations have the same general meaning.
Aku men dikas mem tibi makit wonom nickname kakikanum inyanam amani nickbeke mum wole.
At that time, because of that incident, I had understood a little bit that my mother might be Indian while my father might be white. A mom can mean because of that, referring back to the whole incident that was just talked about. Here's that verb partnership, helping verb like kakas with a verb ending in wonom. Kakas makit wonom. I had understood. Kakas makit wonom. I'm translated to be makit wonom as I had understood a little bit. But Shipley translates it as I scarcely knew. Now, I'm not 100% sure who's right, so you can take your pick. Shipley has, I scarcely knew that my mother was Indian and my father white. Niknen kakan mum inyanam amuni nikbekam mum molam. My mother might be kakukan, an Indian, mum inyanam, while amuni, change of subject, my father might be a white, mum wolam. She seems to use mum inyanam and mum wolam the way we would say an Indian or a white person. At that time, because of that incident, I had understood a little bit that my mother might be Indian and my father might be white. Yapi means be ashamed or embarrassed, not to be confused with yapi, husband. Yapi, husband, yapi, embarrassed. So, I was ashamed of myself.
Nikbekam be nik
The
aikum.
cough in the pit.
Achokam we uninan makit mankano.
Eyai, say something like, we already ran into this. Achokam weye, both languages. Achokam weye. Uninan, from now on. Uninan. Achokam weye uninan, makit mankano. From now on, you will know both languages. Then my father told me something like, both languages here, from now on, you will know.
Runkas momendik makit wonom. Sitti inyanam sitti wolen kakukanan.
You may remember Mumen at that time. Mumendike, only then, only at that time. Kas makitwono, I ended up understanding. We had something like this in the second sentence. Adom nikbeka kas wolani wono. And I ended up speaking to my father using English. Ended up doing. Helping verb plus the verb partner ending in wono is the ended up doing verb form. I ended up understanding. Kas makit wono. Adon kas memenda ke makit wono. Sutim inyanam, sutim wolan ka kukan. And it was only then I ended up learning one might be Indian and one might be white. Listen to the recording again now that we've gone through it and see how much more you're picking up. For homework, go through sections 2A, 2B, and 2C in the Modern Maidu workbook and make up some words. It wouldn't be bad to memorize a dialogue or two also. They're short. Now, I won't post any grammar homework on Facebook, but go to Lesson 9 in the Mountain Maidu Grammar Book and do the exercises at the end of the lesson. The answers are on the next page. This is a review of most of the past verb tenses we've had, including the one we just learned today, con plus the verb plus wono, ended up doing. Yahat bispada, chamakasmin.